Well, I can't ever forget my first game for the Barbarians against the Springboks at Twickenham, and Mark Regan is the captain. Oh my goodness, I never expected such hatred for the Springboks. I've heard more C-bombs in one dressing room than I've ever heard in my life from Mark Regan, how horrible South Africans are.
Not you, though. Hello and welcome to the final RugbyPass Offload of the season. And we'll be joined shortly by the perfect person to discuss the rugby action from the weekend in ex-Saracens, ex-Stormers, Baabaas and Springbok star Schalk Brits. But firstly, you're both joining us from abroad. We'll start. Max is looking slightly more abroady than Ryan, who looks like he's been locked up somewhere. But is that the first time you've got your top on while in Bali, Max?
Yeah, I wasn't allowed my top off in this area of the beach club. It's delightful, really is. Although it's a bit overcast today, unfortunately. But lads, first 3 days though, I had the worst barley belly, like combustive diarrhea. It was actually outrageous. But they're all suited and booted. I went straight to the pharmacy. They sorted me out, and I'm all good now. I'm on the mend.
So absolutely shredded now.
Yeah, just dehydrated, styrations everywhere. I'm looking class, boys. The colonic.
Very clever man. Talking of starts to a fucking holiday, right? Picture this. Quite a rather large weekend on the beers down at the Baabaas on Sunday. Wake up Monday morning after an hour and a half sleep, fly into Glasgow, land in Glasgow, drive to the house, take 4 children and my wife and go back to the airport with the worst hangover of my life to get on a plane to Turkey, where Frank then decides to throw up everywhere 4 times on the plane whilst we're flying. In 4 hours, 4 times, threw up everywhere. I'm covered head to toe in sick with a hangover. We land, we get to the hotel at 4 o'clock in the morning, Turkey time, 4 o'clock in the morning, everyone goes to bed. I go down, grab a burger and a beer because I'm absolutely dying. Get back at 4:30, everyone wakes up at 6:30. So everyone slept for 2 hours. Beck's down at the pool, they're all screaming. No one's having a good time, and I'm locked in a room doing a podcast. But hey ho, listen, it is what it is, isn't it?
So where were you for the post-match Baabaas madness?
Oh, the ship was very busy.
The capital of London rugby, yeah. A watering hole. How good.
Oh, honestly, and you're like, if there wasn't a rugby player I didn't know in there, we didn't play rugby because it was Sarries were obviously in there because they had their second day. So they were all dressed up. The trophy was getting thrown around left, right, and centre. I was making up with people left. Me and Faz. Steve was like, come on, you and Faz, let's go. I'm like, mate, you know I love you, really. It was a good night. It was a good night. It was a very good night.
Were you with the Fijian entourage then? With my man, Mr. Semi?
And that's where I ended up, with all the Fijians, with Seta Tamanavalu. Who else was there? Tavita Lee, Tongan, he was out. Big Tex Kavambati, all the Fijians. I obviously then ended up with the Fijians in a taxi. 7 of us rammed into one taxi. And I'm not sure where we went. I think we went to Embargoes, but I don't actually know.
That's pretty usual. Ship to King's Road, yeah, cheeky. That's also sort of a rugby haunt. Used to be back in the day anyway.
It was a good weekend, boys. It was a good weekend. But can you imagine that? Me and the Sarries boys just making connections left, right, and centre. Just like, boys, come on.
Hey.
Right, do you remember sending me a voice note, a really angry voice note? It was really simple. You went, come on the piss, and I had the audacity to respond to the text, where and what time, and 45 minutes later, you leave a voice note saying, stop asking so many fucking questions and come on the piss.
There's a lot of blurs. There's a lot of blank spots.
How was the box? Thank you for the invite. How was it?
I'll tell you, the Baabaas game, boys, was blurry, but was some game. Like, if you watched it, you probably watched the highlights match because you're in Bali. You're not going to be watching any rugby, but it was wicked down there at Twickenham. And I can only imagine how good the Prem was the day before, but the way, like, it's so typical Barbarians rugby, especially versus World 15. Some of those players in there.
Let's just wind it back quickly, Ryan. You were obviously in London last week as well, interviewing a bunch of people. Eddie Jones, of all, as well, for your Barbarians podcast.
Yes.
Did he give you a bit of a chat? How was that? You know that photo, Max? It looked the sort of Rye anxiety, if you will, when you saw him. How was it?
Your body language was terrible. You look like such a little puss, little lapdog. Eddie, please don't be angry, Eddie.
I wasn't. I got the questions in there. I got the questions. He was talking about introverts and extroverts. And do you know what?
Oh,
Me and Eddie are mates. What a bloke. Love him. Love the guy.
Oh, you fixed all your bridges. This weekend's been very constructive. Just bridge building.
The only one left is Franco Smith. But no, genuinely, Eddie, fucking, it's rugby, innit, Max? This is what I was, even Maratoja, I was speaking to him in the ship and he was like, mate, I couldn't fucking stand you from that Monaco Awards dinner. It was like, you boys, you were out of order. And I was like, come on. And he was like,
what awards dinner?
Oh, there was a rugby awards dinner in Monaco once, and
you were throwing out some.
But do you know what I mean? And you just like, it's weekends like this, weeks like this, Barbarians weeks like this, where you realise, you know, we're all the same. We're all the same. And Eddie Jones, he was good, to be fair. He was talking of introverts and extroverts, and I was like, so which one would I be? He's like, mate, you know what you are. You're definitely an extrovert. We need people like you. And I was like, well, could have picked me for the Barbars, mate. Could have picked me for the Barbars. And he was laughing. But I did ask him if there was going to be any trouble in the tunnel. And he had a good old chuckle at that. So, it was good. But, mate, Steve Hansen, interviewed him. I mean, again, just another absolute legend of a bloke. Like, just made you feel like, do you know what? He reminded me of Dave Rennick. Sat down with him. And I was just like, I felt like I was chatting to Dave. So, hey, Dave's going to Kobe, boys. I think it's announced. It's done. So
That'll be you then, isn't it?
And mate, I'm going to get down the gym, do a load of fitness here, come back in the best nick of my life, and give him a call.
Oh, how good! A bit of Japanese rugby. I reckon you're in there, pal.
They do it.
Tell you who's a very, very, very scucks guy is Quade Cooper.
Oh yeah, he's hella scucksy. Yeah. Does he drink? Was he drinking?
Yeah, I think he was on the biz. Yeah, I know he's not like he used to be.
He's not that. Yeah, I heard he's not that dude anymore. He's sort of kind of had some kind of spiritual renaissance of sorts.
Yeah. But he is. There's some strong bloodline there between him and Sean Maitland. Jesus.
How was Semi? Was he doing meow meow cock-a-doodle-doo?
Mate, he was on another one.
When he gets going, he's hard to stop, mate. And then it's just endless.
Yeah, I'll tell you another sad thing though, right? Is speaking to a lot of the boys like Gareth Anscombe, Reece Patchell, all these guys. They're all in the same boat as me. All of them are like, oh well, none of us have a job. I mean, it is absolutely crazy. So I think what actually happened was I don't think they kicked the arse out of it as much as they normally would have, because a lot of them are using that Barbarians game as a springboard to try and get another contract.
Yep, get another Connie. Jeez, that's nutty. Yeah. Gareth Anscombe and Reece Patchell. Bloody hell.
Yeah, but those are only two that I spoke to that were like, nah, we're done.
Ryan, you spoke to Adam Winjoes, you said. He obviously announced his shock international retirement last week. Just before we talk about him as a player, did he mention anything else about, you know, the rumours that he was actually retiring because he wasn't going to be part of Gatland's slim down squad for the World Cup?
Nah, he didn't really say anything about it. Obviously, we tried to eke it out of him as we do in our podcast fashion. He sort of played it down, played with a straight bat. It was like, it's just maybe time. So no, never really gave much away. But again, lovely bloke. What a career! 170 caps. Is that 170 international caps, including British and Irish Lions? Fuck yeah,
Yeah, that's outrageous innings. My God.
I mean, talking about the big man, you know, captain the Barbarians at the weekend, apart from his shocking conversion attempts, he is the most cap player of all time. You said, right, 4 World Cups. He's been to 3 Lions tours. He's won 5 Six Nations titles and 3 Grand Slams. Max, how are we going to remember him?
Leader of men for a start. Razzle dazzle lot. Like always had the skill set. Like very well rounded player, but still had the flintiness for the tough stuff, the dirt stuff. So mate, I think it'll always go down as a Welsh legend. The like most internationally capped player. Like who's going to beat that? I can't see anyone doing that in a long time. Yeah, some boy, very colourful character as well.
Mate, look how swollen my face looks.
Yeah, that's because you were on the Xanax again, weren't you? Stop doing Xanax on the piss, mate. It's not good. You balloon.
Up and down.
The benzodiazepines will get you.
Do you know what else I love to do? Draw comparables between like my life and Max's. Obviously, Max is theirs on his own with his missus, just chilling out, no kids, no stress.
No kids.
Not getting thrown up on, like not a Thompson holiday, and here I am sweating. I don't think the aircon even works in this place.
We're delighted to be joined by our friend of the show in former Stormers, Sarries, Baabaas, Springboks star Schalk Brits, who's now connected, looking slick on the golf course.
Mark, I feel like I'm back in the UK. It's absolutely freezing.
I don't think we've ever done a pod where Mark's in his house, I'm in Turkey, he's in Bali, and fucking Schalk's on a fucking golf course. This is proper mobile.
Actually, Schalk, we're gonna jump in. We've discussed a bit of the Baabaas, but we'll come back round to that in a little while with you. But obviously, at the weekend, your old team doing what they always seem to do and picking up another Prem title. How happy were you for your old Sarries boys?
I was extremely happy through all the tribulations and challenges they've been through the last 5 years, I guess, or 4 years, to get back, losing the final last year against Tigers and, doing it this year. It was just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Alex Saunderson coaching Sharks, weird seeing that shirt, but he's done a phenomenal job with that team. But once again, I mean, they came under the pump. I thought Sale was very clever in how they tried to maneuver Saracens applying pressure. But I really do think that back three of Saracens were just phenomenal, and the way they tried to close down space and attack. And Owen Farrell, oh my goodness, why would you not play him at 10?
The general thought, boys. I mean, we're going straight into the battle of the two fly halves, if you will. Who actually came out on top?
You got to concur there. The Faz was daddy, pure daddy that day, wasn't it? He was just naughty. See, he was game managing and he had some touch of razzle dazzle, which you don't always associate him with, but he was doing some bits. Some boy.
I tried to punch this guy once in a Barbarian game. So for me saying this, although he was my teammate, I mean, just the way as a rugby player and the way he's matured. I mean, how flat he plays and put other people in space. And he's just the ultimate competitor. Sometimes he boils over, yes. But I think all of us has boiled over once or twice in our careers. But, I mean, he manages himself much better than I thought 5 or 10 years ago.
Schalk, in your mind, is he the starting fly half for England at the World Cup?
No doubt. I mean, I've got no doubt. I'll pick him first and then pick around him. So he just bosses the game so well.
You might recall that Ryan had got and Faz have had a sort of on-off relationship, really. More off than ever on, including Ryan being banned from Twickenham for an altercation in a tunnel. But he had some make-up beers with Faz on Sunday at the Ship and every other Sarries person he's ever crossed in his life. And he now, in his mind, which is still recovering from the weekend, genuinely believes he is best friends with Faz.
Oh, so he's almost like a Joe Hamilton. You love or hate the guy. I mean, I guess the one thing you have to say about it is he is intense. There's not an off button really with him, except when he's probably a bit intoxicated, and that rarely happens.
My new mate Faz.
Really, Ryan? How many beers did you scull together, or how many tequilas did you go for?
I said, mate, it's all a bit blurry. It's all a bit blurry. But those boys were sending it. They were having a good old time. That trophy, God knows how it made it back. I think I saw it in the bed with Jamie George somewhere on on social media, but that was getting passed around the ship like you wouldn't believe. I was thinking, oh shit, where's that going? Where's that? Can I steal it?
Did you try to?
I thought best not, because then I didn't want to burn any bridges. I'm all about making bridges at the moment.
Quick one on, I don't know if you guys saw it, but Tom Curry getting a bit physical with one of the Just Stop Oil protesters. Schalk, thoughts on how Afrikaners would have dealt with those guys coming onto the field?
Well, I guess, Mark, if you take it just a ref being making a wrong calls and he gets tackled on the rugby pitch, I don't even want to know what they're going to do with a guy that runs in with the oil spillage kind of thing. They would have taken him apart. But good on him. I mean, if you want to make a statement, just don't make it there. I mean, it's a great occasion. There's better ways to voice your opinion on whatever you believe in.
You know what it reminded me of? But like going back to the days, because I was talking about it to one of the guys in the box of the weekend, is how I've used to fucking love a streaker. You don't see him anymore, do you?
Yeah. Ollie Bartley smoked one once. Who else? Chris Alafir, he smashed one. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? Imagine you're like running on the field and you're like, this is a good idea. A few beers in, you're like, this is great. And then a Tongan warlord just absolutely cuts you in half. The most ferocious human. Oh, that'd be horrible.
Shriveling up in all ways.
Yeah.
Ryan, I say if you're streaking or if you go protesting, just do it naked, man. There's a lot more action in being naked. Put clothes on.
I'm with you, but they don't show it, do they? No one's allowed to show it anymore. So with the cricket, it's the same. I don't think they're allowed to televise it, are they? So they don't show. You've got to be there in person to be able to spot them. So get along to your local cricket club, rugby club, people, if you want to see a streaker.
The best memory as a young kid was watching Wimbledon, and there was a female streaker, and I couldn't get that out of my mind for about 2 months. I was like,
you used to try and jump over the net.
Let's quickly go back to the game, though. Thoughts on how gutted Joe Carpenter will be after that charge down, which led to kind of the momentum swinging dramatically back into Saracens' hands?
I'm going to flick it the other way and go, what a fucking legend Duncan Taylor is, who came on and made the charge down. That bloke. Yeah. If there's a better man in rugby, you find him, because
he's a good bastard. He's a good bastard.
Absolute legend. I love Duncan Taylor. So good on you, Dunks. Give it to me, man.
I mean, I would focus the impact Duncan had on his last game at Saracens was just phenomenal. Even my boys went, how can he finish? How can they not stay at Saracens? And the same with Jackson Ray. It was just his final game for Saracens. One club man. I saw him from day one as a young kid, whippersnapper, like they would say, and his performance was phenomenal this weekend as well. So from my perspective, it is years and years at the club, great guys, and look at that. And I don't know one guy that got something bad to say about Duncan Taylor. What a legend!
He wore that helmet all night long. I think he's dressed as Tony Hawk.
Oh, Ryan, it looks like you're living your best life.
Oh, it was a wonderful day. It was a wonderful day.
Joining
Max.
By the way this Sunday went, I wouldn't be surprised if Faz was back there getting me a job. Media manager.
Max, just tail that one off though. Quick word on the sort of Sale boys and Joe Carpenter.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Joe Carpenter can take a lot from this season. Like, obviously, young lad, had an incredible season. He's been standout for Sale, a big part of their success. I think they'll have learned a lot from that final. And as Sanderson said at the end, they're going to be sticking around that top four. I think they're scary pack. I thought they should have kept a few of the boys on a bit later. I thought he changed the bench a bit early, like especially Acker. Like, that guy was freaky.
Oh.
He was game breaking, wasn't he? Like, I was like, you got to keep that geezer on, because he could do something out of nothing. But yeah, I think they'll be around. They'll learn a lot from that. It'll just make them hungrier. But also shout out to Theo Dan, like coming on early. Jamie George obviously getting HIA early when Curry sort of bent him in half. Unfortunate collision. But Theo Dan was absolutely class. Box office hooker. He's had such a good season for a young lad.
Oh, just so I
Spicy.
know, what hole are you on? Are you halfway around the course or?
I'm halfway. I'm at the halfway spot. I've been told to hurry up and get my ass on the tee box.
Mate,
So they're going to play.
Don't let us stop
Yeah.
you, mate.
As you should.
You go. Let us see you tee off, and then just pick
Yeah,
up.
I want to see. I want to see your techers. I want to see
the.
the swing.
Okay,
You're gonna
I'll
have-
show you my swing. As you can see, my bag is quite colourful, like my
Lovely.
personality.
Exactly.
I'm going to entertain you guys. We're not doing the normal tee off. We're playing
The Happy Gilmore, is it?
scrambled round. I hope this works out. Oh, there was a bit left though.
Yeah, you hooked that a little bit.
Yeah, but
That
he's
was
on
a
his
bad
knees.
hook.
Schalk's just teed off, so we have a certain finite amount of time until he has to take his next shot. Boys, you both picked Saracens to come out on top in the Prem. You definitely didn't pick Munster winning their first major trophy for 12 years after landing the URC title with that absorbing 1914 victory over the Stormers in Cape Town. Schalk, we're going to start with you, mate. Your old side, they had their chances. It was a sold-out, 55,000 strong home crowd. They couldn't quite push past the men in red. Having celebrated getting Munster in the final over Leinster the week before, how are we? How are we taking it back in South Africa?
Well, I must say, Dobbo, the way he's handled it has been unbelievable. He said in the papers on a Sunday, and that's why I rate him as a coach, because the administration side has been an absolute nightmare. And he went, boys, it was my mistake. But I mean, as a supporter, we all thought, oh my goodness, the Stormers got this. What kind of team can go Glasgow, Leinster, Cape Town, and still get out on top? And that was just a phenomenal 3-4 games from them. So from that perspective, I couldn't believe how Munster came to the game, and they were the better side on the day. Fair play to them. From a Stormers perspective, I feel bad for Moni. That was sort of his go. Everybody wanted if he can come up with the goods on big games, and yet he had a good start. But then after that, it strategically made a couple of errors. But hey, it's like most things. With time, you will learn and become a better player.
What's the reaction been like in South Africa over that result?
Everyone's quite shocked, to be fair. I mean, we haven't beaten Munster once, but everybody thought nobody can go 3 games away after beating Leinster in Dublin. That is just so hard to come back from that. And everybody thought, myself included, that although Munster's got a great side, Graham Roundtree has only improved through the season. The team, Munster's only improved in the season, but they just showed the kicking game was superior. Their error rate is almost 0, and it was just a great image from the boys from Munster.
I've been building bridges the last week. Right, are you ready for this one?
No chance.
No
way.
But exactly like Schalk said, fucking fair play. Like to go and play. They didn't have the best season. People have written them off halfway through the season at one point, especially when we went over there and did a job on them, and everyone's going, no way. But all that matters at the end of the day is the knockout footy, and they got there, didn't they? So fair play to them. Fair play to them. They've done some job. They've done some job over there. But yeah, I didn't want them to win. Fuck no, I didn't want them to win.
We touched upon Leinster sort of choking last week and the impacts that would have on the Ireland team. Schalk, do you think this loss could creep some doubt into the South African dressing room?
No, definitely not.
Well, let's move on to a massive year for the Boks kicking off in around 5 weeks' time. Their first match is the Rugby Championship opener on July the 8th against Australia. Schalk, Eddie Jones has earmarked that as a must-win for the Wallabies. How do you feel the Boks are shaping up for the championship?
Russia's viewpoint is people do not remember what happens in between World Cups. Yes, it's important to win games and build momentum, but his focus would just be to make sure that we get depth into the squad. So you'll see some funny selections going into the World Cup, and close to the World Cup, they'll start to sort of finalize that. For me, as teams like New Zealand and Australia that we actually haven't spoken about in the last 6 months or 8 months, that is scary. And with Eddie, he knows how to work with those Australian players. He's going to get the best out of them. And so I'm quite scary of the Australian team going into this World Cup.
So that's interesting for me, because with Greg Townsend, I heard him speak at something the other day, and he's talking about how he wants to try and get consistency in the team. Oh, he's just lined up. What you got there? 7-9.
It's putter.
Oh, okay. We're putting. Bloody hell! The drive make it all the way to the green. Fucking
No.
Yeah.
Off the knees as well.
Yeah.
You playing crazy golf?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's carry on. But that's what Greg Townsend was saying. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to try and get consistency. So I don't think he's going to chop and change his team. I think from now on, obviously they've not got as many games as South Africa and Australia will have, but he's going to want to get consistency and play that same team so they get time together before the World Cup. So I don't think you'll see like a load of people coming in and out. You reckon with South Africa he's still going to try out a load of combinations to see what he's got there?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure he's going to do it. He did it in 2018, 2019, and the one thing is the half of the squad as well is making sure that everybody feels they've got a fair opportunity to show what they've got. Although it's a long season, it's different in the Springboks shirts. You play with the best players in the country, and then you want a fair shot to put the shirts on your back. So he'll play different combinations, make sure that, I guess, Damien plays at 10, Moani has a go, to make sure if 100 Pollard goes down, who's going to take over that role? I mean, pretty much we've got settled in our squad at bar. I mean, only Francho Low, myself, and Beast has retired from the last World Cup. So it's going to be interesting to see what combination he's going for.
How much more terrifying are Australia with Eddie Jones in charge than without them, Schalk?
They're going to be total different kettle of fish. He's the way he manages the team is unbelievable. How he takes pressure off the players and sort of put the pressure on himself. That is just a great way of him managing pressure as a team, as a manager of a team. Sorry, boys, this putt is for a half.
Okay, let's see it. Let's see it.
So
Get it home. Get it home.
Thanks for that. For the hole.
Jackass.
Swish,
baby. Swish.
Swish. So yeah, I've worked with Eddie a little bit, and his way of he'll get the best out of a team, although it would be short. And I think he's ideally suited for international rugby, not as a club coach, but as an international side, you can only survive with portions of him. And when you're with him, he drives stats incredibly high. And some players and some management can't keep up with that. I think he's brutal, but that's his management style. It's old school. If only the strongest survive kind of way, I guess.
Schalk, quick words on South Africa coming up against Ireland again in the group stages. How do you think they'll go after losing to them in the autumn?
Ireland's going to be a toughie. Group stages, I think the focus will definitely be about dominating, like we always do, going to focus on starving them of ball, because I think Ireland, Leinster, Munster, also the way they keep the ball is through phases. They don't play expansive game, but the structure they play is extremely good. I still back our boys. The big thing for any of the four, well, hopefully make it to the quarters, that I hope we do. But going from there, it is probably going to be the hardest routes to a final if we get there. I believe we can, but it's going to be a tough ask. Ireland specifically, I think it's just weird. They've never performed in a World Cup, and I think from our perspective, that belief will keep there till they prove it differently, right? So they've always been great between World Cups, but when World Cup comes, have they made a quarterfinal?
No.
Or past the quarterfinal?
Never passed the quarterfinal, no.
And unfortunately, that is always the belief, and belief is hard to change within a group. If it takes Saracens, I mean, how many finals did we lose and eventually win one, and when the beliefs goes, even in the tight exchanges, you believe you can win. And sometimes that's just the difference.
That's why I had such confidence in Sarries winning against Sale, because you think they've been there, they've done it, they've won it. So I'm with you on that. And look at Leinster at the moment. Like, you take Munster and then you take Leinster, you got to be in it to win it. And if they've not made it past the quarters, it is fucking. When you think about it, it's actually crazy, eh? With the way that Ireland have been going, people like the great Schalk was about to fucking shank this one off to the right, I reckon. Trying to put him off.
Yeah, jackass.
Or abandon my child.
Well, boys, you know I'm playing off for one handicap a year. So come on, give me some credit, yeah.
Okay.
It looked pretty sweet. It was hard to see from here, but it looked
Schalk,
all right.
basically, you're writing Ireland off for the World Cup, though.
He's
I
basically
did
saying
not
that,
say
yeah.
that.
He's saying they're going to choke. He says they're going to choke. Chokey.
Leinster choked. Ireland will choke.
Let's say this. I hope Ireland and South Africa goes through to the semis.
Well, that's
So,
Scotland.
no, I mean, they're going to be going home quite quickly, I guess. I mean, the first book for after the full stages.
Oh, it's brutal. It's brutal.
I'm joking. It's going to happen. This is going to come bite my ass.
I hope so.
All right, boys. Well, we're going to try a new little segment. We are exactly 100 days out from the start of the World Cup in France. We're going to do a quick fire round. First things first, Ryan, who's going to win?
New Zealand.
Max?
New Zealand.
Schalk?
Come on, boys. You all the things there. I know you
It's
separated,
between
but I mean,
Bockies and New
different parts of the
Zealand.
world.
Yeah.
I would honestly still back us. But if there would be a second team to go for at home, if it wasn't South Africa, I really do hope one of the Northern Hemisphere teams win it.
To France.
And I really do, because France. I would say, well, France has got the best chance to do it. They're playing at home. They've got a massive pack. The structure is good, and I think Ireland will come up short with the pressure. France at home, that will make a difference from that perspective.
Mark, who do you think?
France. Who's going to surprise us the most by overperforming? Ryan?
I think with the squad that the Wallabies have got, I think Australia will do pretty well.
I'm going to go with Fiji.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I'm going with Fiji. I think they've just got the most. Yeah, they've got a ridiculous squad up at the moment. Back row and back line are absolutely stacked.
Schalk?
England. There's no expectation. I honestly think
that's true. That is true. That's a good point. No expectation.
I think they're going to flop.
Right. And, well, Schalk is actually just continuing to play his round of golf, which is amazing.
Oh,
Crispy.
that is a shit show.
Ryan, who do we think is going to flop?
England.
Max?
I'll go with Ireland.
Schalk?
I agree. The expectation of most, the number one team in the world, they've won everything, Six Nations. Yeah. And that is the other part that would be hard for them, is to manage the pressure of being the favourites going into the World Cup, or number one or two. I think that is extremely hard to manage that. That is a different kettle of fish.
And finally, what's the one thing you would like to see at the World Cup, Ryan?
More streakers.
Can I go first?
Go, Schalk.
Please. Except streakers, I would say consistency from refs. Oh my goodness. It is driving me absolutely nuts for a guy that loves the game so much, that one tackle that's got no intent of hurting anyone can have such a devastating impact on a game.
I'm with you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's the topic we've always been debating. Like every week we've been talking about the tackles. Like it's so hard, and refs, and I think refs sort of read too much into like the slow-mo, and then they've been like having these agendas forced down their throats, so they've got to be doing it. Like it's, yeah, I agree. That's got to be a big priority of the referees.
Anything else, Max?
I just want to see like packed out crazy stadiums. That's the sort of the way in it in France. I just want to see some like incredible decibels and maniacal fans.
I want to see the Offload podcast on the road.
Very good.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Offload podcast.
In the land
on
of the
road.
vine.
Yeah, so
baby.
comment below and make sure you help us get there.
You know what is ridiculous though? Is the guy that's got the biggest influence on the game is being paid the least amount of money. It's just weird the way they
Who are
look.
you alluding to?
No, the refs. I mean,
Right.
the structure, they've got such a massive impact on it, but they get a lot of slack when they perform badly, and their remuneration sucks.
Yeah, it's not a great sort of sales pitch for young upcoming referees or even like grassroots refs if you know that you're just going to get shitloads of crap thrown at you and it's not even very well paid.
Talking about referees, by the way, what about Luke Pearce asking Van der Merwe if he scored the try?
I love it.
Didn't we love that?
That's class.
I actually love it. So because if he lies,
was
they
good.
go, well, everyone will give him so much banter about it. They'll take him apart.
So he gave him the opportunity. Tell me, do you think you got it down? And to be fair, he knew. You could tell Van der Merwe knew. He was like, no, definitely I've got it down. Like, okay, I'm going to check it then. I'm going to check it. Oh, shit, I've lied.
Yeah, but that's as Schalk just said. We'd love to see more of that, right? It's the honesty, because it's still a game where people give you shit if you end up being a bad person.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Luke Pearce. He's constantly speaking and talking to the players, and that, like, more of that is good. I think he's a brilliant player.
100%.
By the way.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one thing about rugby that I love is integrity, right? So if you could ask in a final if you scored the try and you say yes and you didn't, you're going to look like a muppet for the rest of your life. You cheat.
True.
And that's
okay. And then on that so when someone takes a shot and milks it, we should also get the ref going over, are you milking this? And they're like, yeah, sorry, I'm milking it. Okay, don't do it.
Honestly, that's what happened with Brian Banner in the 2014 World Cup against Sudan. They got a penalty. He got tripped up. He fell. And the ref had a proper go at him, saying, this is not in the character of the game. This is not what we stand for. You got the penalty, but this is horrendous what you did.
Exactly.
Who was that?
Stuart Hogg against South Africa at the World Cup in 2015. Remember when Nigel Owens told him off for diving? It's like, I know it's a football stadium. And we were at St James's Park. He said, I know it's a football stadium, but we don't need any of that football act.
That was quick for him as well. Well played. Yeah.
Last couple of things. We talked about incredible Barbarians match over the weekend. You've played for them an amazing 9 times. You've got to play with some of the greatest legends of the sport over the years for the Baabaas. Talk us through sort of the names that really just jump straight out at you now. First thought while on the golf course on a stag do on a standard sort of Tuesday morning.
Well, I can't ever forget my first game for the Barbarians against the Springboks at Twickenham. First time at Twickenham. And Mark Regan is the captain. Oh my goodness, I never expected such hatred for the Springboks that I've heard more C-bombs in one dressing room than I've ever heard in my life from Mark Regan, how horrible South Africans are. And I stood up, Mark, I'm South African. But
you're right, you're a good captain.
Not you, though.
And we beat the Springboks in 2000 after they won the World Cup. And it was just unbelievable. I know there's the social engagement didn't stop till Saturday morning, 2:00. And I thought, I told my now wife, girlfriend, I think we're going to get pumped today. So the boys were still going out at 2:00 the night before the game. and Matt Kitzer, Jerry Collins, was Jason Robertson's last game. So they just all brought it on the game day. And it was unbelievable playing with those legends. It was just, I mean, rocket awesome. It was just a unbelievable experience playing rugby with guys that you meet during the week and just have a couple of beers with, and you form allegiance and just enjoy each other's company.
We know a lot of the games take place in the UK, but how different were the ones that you went to, I think, in Hong Kong and Brazil? Was it even looser than London?
Yeah, he's nodding. He's nodding for people that can't see him. He's nodding profusely.
I must say, Australia was ridiculous in 2009. But Hong Kong was absolutely insane. We went through a drinking ban, and as you know, can I use a tea? Thanks, partner. It was absolutely insane. Those things that happen on Baabaas tours, Ryan can tell you more. Well, I guess it should stay on a Baabaas tour, but it is. I will never ever want to have those days over again. My life would not be the same.
Such a guys, there it is. That's how you do, like, tiny little something. Like, you know, I'd never do that again. My liver, my life. Beautiful, beautiful drive onto the grid.
Rory Best enjoyed that trip as well. I heard. Go.
Yeah, I mean, where do you go to Brazil, Rio, for a Barbarian trip? I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. We played on a golf course that is private. We had nights out that was unforgettable. So for any aspiring rugby player, I would say, just make sure you get to the Baabaas, because your life will never be the same after you've played for the Barbarians.
There we go. And Max Laif is still working his way through. Come on, Baabaas selectors. This is his year coming up.
That'd be awesome. That'd be so glorious.
Schalk, can we just finish off with your combined World 15 of players that you've played with and or against, please?
I would start with Marco Jensa, Aussie Rand. I will probably take Aussie Rand because it was my first game, World Cup, playing for Cats. He was a loose head prop. And he weighing 93 kgs, trying to play Super Rugby. That will definitely be the guy. Carl Heyman at tight head, Malcolm Marks at hooker. Well, firstly, if I can, I didn't play against him, but he was inspiration. He was actually Keith Wood. He inspired me. He was not just a legend on the pitch, but he was a legend off the pitch. So they say you never meet your heroes. I met him, and he's a tough guy. I would say probably the most skilled lock that I played with, RG Snyman. He's a man giant with unbelievable skill. Toji at lock with him. Schalk Burger, the hard man, the ultimate team guy. George Smith or Richie McCall, that loose trio. Florida Priya at 9. Actually, Owen Farrell at 10, if I think about it now. Although special mention was Richie and Dan Carter and Johnny Wilkinson. 12, the guy that's meant the most for me in my career. Not the most, but played parts and played a lot of games with Brad Barrett. Nonu, special mention. Alex Good at fullback. Wingers, Chapman Colby. Tano Maga as well. Put him in there, buddy. He was fullback, a guy that I started loving, running with the ball, Christian Cullen, but I never played against him. Left wing, probably Barner Banner, when he came onto the scene, scoring so many tries and just being a menace, just so quick. Hey, he's beaten a cheetah.
We got another wing. Yeah. Have we done all the wings?
Yeah, he did Ches and Colby and Brian.
Oh, he said Ches, and I didn't hear that.
That is
I mean, you know what's worst part about it, Mark, is we did had a couple of pre-game stepping, and I thought, okay, fine, I'm going to do a bit of covering Chisholm Colby, and he actually stepped me within 5 meters, and I went, how the hell did he do that? In 5 meters, you know that 5-meter channel? Didn't even touch him. Sorry, I've got one more shot here.
It's going to be our perfect sort of sign off.
How did she go?
Oh, okay. Damn it, it was a good shot.
I'm taking up golf. I'm taking up golf in retirement. I'm doing all my podcasts from the golf course from now on, boys.
I'm going to send you a video of tonight. So I'm going to get smashed by these boys for being on the phone for 4 or 5 holes. And probably for every shot I look like a monkey, they're going to give me a shooter. I'm going to be...
You'll be all right.
Rightly so.
But in fact, that is sadly all the time we have got left for this week and for this season. Very, very sadly. But we're all going to be taking a break and we will be back in a month to preview the Rugby Championship and to catch up and find out how Ryan's contract situation is going, what's happening with his life. Is he going to be picking you up in an Uber, or is he out in Japan? Now. I know. Don't get anxious. We're okay. We're okay. How red/brown Max will be coming back from Bali, and whether Schalk will actually survive a stag do that he spent half the time on a podcast and therefore is about to be killed for it. But yeah, huge thank you as always, Schalk. And we will catch up with you, hopefully on the road, offload on the road ahead of the World Cup and during the World Cup. But also huge thanks to Ryan and to Max and to all of you for listening and watching. And we will see you all in a month's time.